Now you will have noticed on quite a few of the posts so far, on a few of the slides that we've got, to please pop your student number in the chat. Now we ask that because we do record your attendance, and that's really helpful for you down the track too, to have a copy and a record of all of the training and development you've done throughout candidature. So please pop that in. It's not publicly shared, it's just for our records, and we just keep that record in UniHub for you. And before we begin today, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners. So QUT acknowledges the Turrbal and Yagara as the First Nation owners of the lands at QUT, and we pay respect to their elders, laws, customs and creation spirits. I recognise that the lands that QUT is on and where I am here at home today have been places of teaching, learning and research. And I acknowledge the important role that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people play within our broader QUT community. Now, before we kick in today, you may notice that my voice sounds a little raspy. I had lost my voice last week and it's only just coming back. So please bear with me today. I might have a few little spots where I lose it, but I will be able to get my voice back. So I'd like to start today with who are we, because I know many of you will be first years on this call today. And there is so much information to know as a first year candidate, and I want to make sure that you have a good big picture of who we are and how you are connected to all of these opportunities here at QUT. So first of all, who are we? We are GRED. And what does GRED stand for? Because there are a million acronyms you're going to learn here at QUT. GRED stands for Graduate Research, Education and Development, okay? And our team of 10 curates online training and development opportunities to help you do 3 things. 1 is advance your research, 2 is lead your career, and 3 is engage in industry. Okay, so we have a team of 10 people. Our primary role is to create online training, and maybe at some point we'll get back to a little bit of face-to-face, but we've had such positive feedback about accessibility to our online training. So this is just a little bit of an image for you to give you an idea of what it is we do. So in the advanced space, Kerry and Tasha, who also works in academic writing, help you to advance your research. So that is building your research skills to support your research and thesis. In my area, and Imogen and Murray work in this space as well in our team, our role is to develop the leadership and professional skills that you need to launch your career and drive personal success. And Katie, Catherine Theobald, works in, oh hey Katie, nice to see you, thank you. Katie also works in this particular space and is a bit of a partner in crime who works with myself. Katie leads the industry engagement space to build your industry engagement and innovation skills through internships and networking and entrepreneurial skills. So we are your team behind you who supports you to develop a range of skills to help you move forward in your career. So that's us. We're a very friendly group. I hope you jump on and get involved throughout candidature in a range of the training and development opportunities. So that's a little bit about us, but what about you? I am curious. What year of candidature are you? So I'm going to pop up some polls because I've got about 3 or 4 questions that I'm wanting to ask you to get an idea of who are these 30 participants who are involved. And even if you're not in first year, but you've joined because you're 2nd or 3rd year and you wanted to just learn a little bit about what you maybe should have been thinking about and now need to start thinking about, that is completely fine. So I'm going to launch the poll now. I've got a few questions, so all of those questions may come up together. I'm not 100% sure. So let's see and bear with me. So I'm launching the poll. Yes, they're all going to come up together. So I'm wanting to know what year of candidature are you? I'm wanting to know which faculty you're from. I'm wanting to know, are you enrolled in a PhD or an MPhil? And then last but not least, do you already have some career-related work experience? So maybe you've worked a little bit in industry, or maybe you've done a little bit of sessional teaching in academia or some tutoring. Maybe you've done a bit of both, which is completely fine. Or you may not have anything just yet, which again is completely fine. Give me a bit of an indication of where you are all at. Okay, so I have 23 out of the 29 who voted. I'll give you another 10 seconds. Okay, looks like everyone's completed. All right, I'm going to end the poll there and I'll share it with you so you can all see who's who in this group. Now, Kerry or Katie, if you can't see the poll right now, can you let me know? Otherwise, I'll assume it's up there for everybody. It's just hard because it doesn't...
We can see it.
You can see it? Okay, thank you. All right, so it looks like majority of you are first year, which is exciting and fantastic. And we have a second year involved too, which is lovely. Glad to have you on board. Faculties are fairly well represented across all three. Main one is health, and then engineering, creative industries, education, social justice, and then business, and then science, business and law, and then science. Okay, great. So we've got a great mix today. That's excellent. PhD or MPhil, okay, so majority of the group is PhD, but we also have 32% MPhil as well. Fantastic. Great to have you all on board. Now, this is just my curiosity question. What experience do mainly first years come into candidature with? So you guys are telling me that 8 of you have industry experience, 6 of you have some academic experience, and 4 of you have both academic and industry experience, and some don't have any experience yet. Now, that is completely fine. So if you're a first year and you have just come through honours and into your PhD or MPhil, majority of the time you won't have a heap of industry or academic experience. That's completely fine. But some of you may have finished your undergrad, gone out and had some work experience and now coming back into candidature. So there have been opportunities for you to get some industry or academic experience. Now, as you progress through candidature, we will be encouraging you to gain some of these experiences. And many of our webinars throughout the year talk and teach you how to gain those different experiences. Okay, that's excellent. Thank you. It gives me a really good picture of where we're at. That's great. So I'll pause on that sharing now and close that up. And I'll just pop through the slides because I thought each question might come individually. So we know year of candidature, we know faculty, we know PhD and MPhil, and we know that many of you have some experience. So therefore, what is the goal for today? I've actually just set one goal. We have an hour. And I want to just stay targeted on one particular goal, and that is I want to ensure you have a greater understanding of the 3 important career steps for first year candidates. Now, these are the 3 important steps that were spoken about at orientation, and unfortunately I wasn't well enough to present at orientation, but my team did on my behalf. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to talk you through these 3 important career steps and give you more information about how to build and develop those steps throughout candidature. So let's look at the top 3 steps or top 3 tips. You need to know the graduate employment facts. Now, I know your majority of you are first year, but I still think it's really important to begin with the end in mind. So to start now by thinking about what and knowing what is out there so that you can best prepare yourself along your candidature journey. It's not about applying for jobs now. It's not about going into great depths, but it's just about having a clear understanding of what it looks like out there and therefore what you can be preparing for. Step 2 or tip 2 is to build your career skills. Okay, so building the skills that you need in order to step out into graduate employment, and those skills can be developed through the range of training that we offer throughout your time here at QUT. And number 3 is connect with your peers. And we'll talk about why that's important, but the most important piece is that many of your peers, and not just the people in your lab, but the people who might even be on this call, on this webinar today, may become future colleagues, peers, collaborators. You just never know. And given the big push at the moment for a lot of transdisciplinary outputs or research, there is a great indication that you will be working across disciplines, across sectors, across faculties. So it's really important to build those relationships. So let's move back to number 1, know graduate employment facts, and let me talk you through some of those. One important piece to know is that less than 30% of research graduates secure full-time academic employment. Okay, and this came out of the Ecola Review in 2016, but there's been many other research and news articles that have spoken to this fact, that the MPhil and primarily, I guess, PhD is no longer an academic apprenticeship. Okay, it's no longer the lateral process of doing your study and then moving it straight into academia. Now, that's not to say that if you really want to be an academic, you can't pursue that career. You absolutely can, but the process is a little more tricky or a little more complex, a little more challenging these days. And that's just simply because the number of PhDs and MPhils going through universities is a lot higher than the number of jobs being advertised in universities. Okay, so if you really want to, then you really have to be passionate and you really have to pursue opportunities and experiences within academia in order to build your skills and experience. All right, but knowing that those who go into academia typically end up in short-term contracts or sessional work for a longer period of time than what happened 20 years ago. So this percentage is really talking about full-time academic, so permanent type of work. There's a lot less of it at the moment, and that probably will continue for quite a while now. So just for you to be mindful of. In saying that, another couple of research projects identified that 19 out of the 20 largest ASX listed companies now have PhD and MPhil graduates in their senior leadership teams, which is really exciting. So what this is saying is in public and private sector, but primarily private sector, companies are engaging with PhD and MPhil graduates, and they're reaching higher senior leadership roles, which means then they're more open, I guess, to employing and bringing in more PhD and MPhil type graduates. So that's a really exciting statistic and something, again, to be mindful of, that if academia doesn't really grab you or it's not a career path you're really wanting to pursue, that industry as the alternative, and industry represents public sector, private sector, startup companies, not-for-profit companies, all of that industry sector are becoming more interested in PhD and MPhil graduates, or the skills that they have. And therefore, as I've popped here, there are increasing opportunities for research graduates or graduate researchers to assist the public sector, to assist private sector, to assist startup companies and non-for-profits with data, with innovation, and with user experience. Now, obviously there are more things that you can provide or value add to these sectors, but there is a real drive at the moment for data, particularly within, I guess, the COVID climate has really driven different organisations to start thinking about, well, what does their data tell them? And what are more innovative ways that we can work that are more effective and more efficient and more adaptable? And what does the user experience look like at the end of the product or the service that we offer? Now, these three things are things that all graduate researchers develop. They're skills and experiences that you will have by the time you graduate. And that doesn't matter what discipline you're in, what faculty you're in, what school you're in, you will have data, research, methodology type of skills. You will be able to see things innovatively because you have had to think through your thesis in a range of different ways and consider many different options to be able to produce the results that you're looking for. And hopefully with a range of experiences that you gain throughout candidature, you'll be able to think about the user experience and have them in mind. Okay, so these are some really exciting things for graduate researchers to be mindful of. Now, in saying that, industry may not know that they need you. And that's why I've got this gentleman here with his hand up going, hello, I'm here. And the reason I raise that is because industry is starting to become aware of the skill set that PhD and MPhil students have. But it's not forefront, it's not front of mind yet. And it's going to rely on people like GRED and QUT to really promote the value that PhD and MPhil students provide. But it's also going to rely on you. It's going to rely on you to be thinking and mindful of the skills and experiences you have and be able to promote those to organisations to say, hey, I can do this, and I can do this faster than the other undergraduates that you are looking to employ. Or I can see another way that we can do this more efficiently, more cost effectively. Okay, so industry may not know that they need you, and that's where you need to step up and really start speaking about those things throughout candidature. So your job is to build your skills as a first year, build your skills and experience throughout candidature, and then promote your value to industry. That's like the end, keeping the end in mind. That's where you're working towards. I'd also encourage you to conduct wise job searches. So if you only use keywords like PhD or MPhil, you are going to miss out on a lot of opportunities. Okay. And you know what? I'm actually going to show you that. Let's do that now. Let's jump on in. So I'm just going to share a different page with you. I'm going to jump into seek.com and I'm going to put in PhD. And let's see out of curiosity. Now, obviously PhD is not only going to pick up jobs, but it's also going to pick up PhD scholarships and postdoc roles, which, you know, covers both areas. So you can see here, just as an example, that 747 jobs were found under just the title of PhD. Okay. But what if I type in the word research, which, how about I spell that correctly, which I know is very broad, but let's just see what research picks up, how many jobs. So we've gone from 747, we jumped to 11,000, okay? So I'm just simply making the point that your keyword search is going to be really important. And now, why is it important? Because let's have a look. Let's even just pick up this one, research evaluation and monitoring analyst. Now, all of you across all disciplines could probably do this by the time you finish candidature. Is it to do specifically with science? Is it to do with cancer research? Is it to do with business research? We don't know yet. We'd have to dive into the role and have a look. But regardless of what your different discipline is, this could be a role that majority of graduate researchers could take on within community services and development. So let me click on and open this up and show you why I'm pointing to this particular role. Now I'm going to just scoot through the job description a little bit and go to the about role. So I'm just looking at the ability for you to monitor and evaluate. You will have those skills by the time you finish candidature. Research skills, well, I hope you have those skills by the time you finish candidature. Knowledge translation, so are you able to translate knowledge across people and stakeholders and community? Hopefully you can develop that throughout candidature. Engage with people, so stakeholder engagement. Well, hopefully through your thesis, it's not just you working on just your thesis, but maybe there are other collaborators involved. Project management skills. Well, I would say to you that by the end of a 4-year full-time role in candidature, you are fairly skilled at project managing a 4-year project with hopefully some budgeting skills. Even if there isn't much in terms of a budget, it doesn't matter. You've probably been very resource savvy which is really important to employers. But here's the most important piece, and that is qualifications and experience. So you will see here that this organisation hasn't specifically targeted PhD or MPhil graduates. Does that mean they don't want you? No, not at all. Just like I said in the slide before, they don't know that they need you or that you would be very, very valuable in this type of role. And this comes up time and time again when I do my job searches, that I see that PhD and MPhil is not specifically targeted, and therefore you won't see those words come up in keyword searches. So this is just really important for you to think about, to start looking at what jobs are out there, because it's just good to be looking ahead, and what are the roles, and just don't be deceived by positions that don't specifically speak to the qualification that you're working towards. Okay, does anyone have any questions on that? And feel free to pop it in the chat if I'm not making sense, or if you have a further question. No? All right, and you can see from the experiences here, these are the experiences that they're wanting the person to have, and majority of that will be really simple for you by the time you finish candidature. Okay, great. Okay, well, I'll jump out of there and come back to our slides. Okay, so the last point I've got here, so from first year, we do actually recommend exploring the skills and experiences required for current jobs. And that's just so that you can plan your training and development. So it's about thinking about what kind of jobs are out there that I think I might head towards, and that's industry or academia, and or both. I would be exploring both, and see what it is they're asking for in terms of experience, and then start building your training and development plan from there. Just thinking of yourself as a professional rather than thinking of yourself as a student waiting for information to come to you. So think of yourself as a professional researcher who's honing their research skills in this 4 to 6 year, depending on whether you're full-time or part-time, and building your own training and development plan. Okay, so that's tip number 1, knowing the graduate research facts and landscape. Number 2 is building your career skills. Okay, so throughout candidature, we highly recommend that you clarify your strengths and your skills. What is it that are your strengths, and what are the skills that you've built so far and continue to build? Explore your passions and interests. So just because you have one particular research piece of research or thesis that you're working on that might be in this particular area, explore your passions, have conversations with other colleagues about what they're doing and why they're doing it and how they're doing it, because it will only build on the broader skill set and understandings that you have. And understand the broader career options that you could consider. And you know, part of that is today thinking about, well, do I want to head down an academic path or an industry path? For some of you, it will be really clear. And within those paths, what is available to me? Who do I need to begin speaking with in terms of my supervisor or my co-supervisor or my colleagues? So that people know where my interests lie and I can explore those. You don't have to lock it in right now being a first year. You don't have to, you know, put it in stone or in writing. But by having conversations with people, then opportunities may arise because they realise, oh yeah, Georgia's interested in this. I might see if she wants to jump on board. Okay.
Georgia, there's a question in the chat.
Thank you. So Anna's popped in. Hi, Georgia. I'm wondering if there are many jobs outside of academia that still require or prefer the candidate would have a postgraduate research degree. And if so, what kind of jobs are those? Look, Anna, what I would say to you is, okay, the jobs that sit outside academia, typically they will ask for either an undergraduate or a master's degree. That seems to be, when we look at the data of research across jobs, They're typically asking for undergrad or masters. When you look at jobs that are more in a more middle management, senior management role, then they're often asking more for a master's type of degree. But still, we're not seeing huge amounts of jobs specifically asking for PhD or MPhil unless they're very, let's say, very science related, or a principal researcher, or the title is specifically about a researcher. That's when we start to see those qualifications come up. Now, just because an organisation or a recruitment team don't put in that they're wanting postgrad in PhD or MPhil doesn't mean they don't want your skills and experience. All it means is that the recruitment team aren't yet aware enough about what you offer as PhD and MPhil students. Now, we're starting to see a little bit of a shift as universities are promoting more and more their researchers into industry, but it's going to take some time for industry to pick up that awareness, and start advertising those type of titles in their job advertisements. So here's what Katie and I are constantly saying to our graduate researchers at QUT. No matter what the job is asking for, no matter what the qualifications are, you sit at the top anyway. You've already got an undergrad, you probably already have either a graduate diploma or an honours. Some of you might already have a master's in coursework. So whatever you sit on top with that, you have all of the experience or all of the qualifications that an organisation would want anyway. So then it's up to you to be able to articulate why you're applying for the job and the value that you add. Okay, I know there's a bit of a concern at times around, am I overqualified? I think the overqualification piece only comes into play when people like yourselves, like myself, don't articulate the value that we would offer. So I hope that answers the question, but feel free to add more questions. Okay, we have another question. Is it possible to do part-time job during the study period? Really good question. Actually, that came up yesterday in another webinar that I was delivering. So it's up to you to think about what is possible for you. Some of our students do their PhD or MPhil part-time and work full-time. Some do their PhD part-time and work part-time. Some students do no work experience and study full-time, and that's just the maximum they can do because they also have a family that they need to look after and other responsibilities. So there is no right or wrong. There are no rules. The most important thing is for you to contemplate what is possible for you and what are all of your responsibilities. How do you stay focused on your research so that you're doing a really good job of something that you're highly invested and passionate about? And then what gap is left? How much space of time is left? And what is the most efficient and effective use of that time to build skills and experience? So that may be a little bit of work experience. That may be doing some more training and development that we provide. That might be engaging with industry in a small internship rather than having a job, because an internship is a smaller project, or doing some design sprints. And these are all the things that Katie looks after in terms of engaging with industry. So there are no right or wrongs, but there are definitely opportunities. It's just about deciding what's best for you. I'm going to jump to Ruth's question. When would be the best, hang on, let me catch that one. When would be the best time to conduct the job search? Way before final seminar or after? Good question, Ruth. I would be conducting job searches all throughout candidature, actually. I would be saying at the start of candidature, like around now, if you're a first year, I would be looking just to see, again, scope and see what's out there. And then maybe at the end of each year, I would be putting in a block of time to again have another look so that you can make sure you shape your training and development plan. Who knows, jobs might be asking for a specific programming skill more and more often. So then you can go back and have a look, oh gee, does QUT provide any training in this programming skill? So I would be looking all the way through. In terms of job searching to actually start applying for jobs, we generally say about 6 months out from completing your degree, we encourage you to start looking and start applying just so you can get practice in applying for jobs. Okay. Okay, I think that's all I've got at the moment. All right, keep feeling free to pop some questions in the chat. It's lovely to see questions come through. Oh, Monica's added. Thanks, Monica. I think any of the options are possible. Yes, I work in academia without postgrad research. My view would be that it is not all about the qualification, but about the networks of people you develop. Oh, Monica, hands up to you. That is fantastic. That is exactly the case. So in terms of academic experience, I know that a lot of our candidates in MPhil and PhD do some sessional work, and that's really valuable. And all of that comes down to who do you know and who are you having conversations with. So having conversations with your supervisor that you'd like to do some academic work, and what are the availabilities, and seeing what comes up, or unit coordinators. So yes, you're absolutely right there. Okay, so building your career skills. So how do you go about building career skills? I'll just move through this one, and then Bridget, I'll come back to your question. So this is something really exciting, and I'd love you to really take this one away with you, particularly if you're first year. So GRED, our team, has identified the top 20 skills required for graduate success in both industry or academia. Okay, so regardless of which career direction you're thinking of taking, we've identified the top 20 skills. And these are in this beautiful wheel that I have here on the slide. These are the top 20 skills across advancing your research, leading your career, and engaging with industry. Okay, so even if you're thinking of a career in academia, you still need to be able to have skills in pitching and negotiating. Now, why? Well, because academics are being asked more and more to gain grants, to gain funding, to bring funding into university, and all of that requires the ability to pitch and negotiate. Okay, and even in industry and academia, you need skills in critical thinking and creative thinking in order to come up with new ideas and innovation. So there's lots of different skills around this wheel that are useful for either industry or academia. And what we've done at QUT, and this is the only university in Australia, and I think probably around the world, that does this for their students, is we have this wheel for you. But not only that, when you decide that you'd like to build your critical thinking, let's say, experience and skills, you are able to access training and development that's linked to that skill. Or let's say you're interested in pitching and negotiating. We have built training and development opportunities that help you build that skill. So you don't have to go searching out into the wilderness and pay $300, $400 for a 2-hour webinar with some other private organisation. We have sourced the experts and pulled together webinars that can help you develop those skills, which is pretty cool. So how do you access this? If you haven't completed the online assessment tool already, this is a direct link to the HDR skills assessment tool. Okay, and what that tool does is it helps you to assess what your level of experience is, and then be able to identify training opportunities that link to those skills. So let me show you what that actually looks like. I'll pop that here. Yeah. So when you go into the skills assessment tool, it will ask you to assess yourself in terms of level experience. So you'll see one of the first skills is academic writing, and you'll be asked here whether it's new to you, which it might be as a first year student, whether you have some experience, significant experience, or it's just not relevant, you don't think. And it has a bit of a summary, its ability to write and structure research clearly and accurately for the intended audience. So that will be step 1, rate your experience. And then step 2, it will ask you to add some examples to record your experience. Now there's a few benefits for that. And I'll tell you, number 1 is simply that by the time you get to 4th year, or if you're part-time, by the time you get to 6th, 7th, 8th year, you are going to forget the range of experiences you've had. And when you're applying for jobs, it's going to be really useful to be able to draw on those experiences, okay, to put in your CV. That's one reason. The second reason that's actually on the note here is that you will be asked to complete a HDR annual progress report. And in that progress report, they ask you, what have you been doing? What are any additional training and development? Well, if you have documented that here, then fantastic, you already have a list. And you'd only need to list this first piece, the situation. You've attended 4 GRED writing circles on grammar and writing style. Perfect. Now, if you expand on that and talk about what it is, the task and the action and the results and your self-reflection, then that is how you will answer selection criteria when you apply for jobs down the track. So all you're doing is preparing and creating a repository of your experiences that you can review when you get down to the end of candidature. Okay, and these you can accumulate over time. You just press save and it keeps a record. Okay, so this is something really exciting. No other university has that for their students, and I think it's really, really useful for you to keep a record of. Now, from this piece, and Bridget, I'm mindful you've got your question and I will come to you. From this piece, the next step then is to go into the training and development. And I'd like to actually show you how to do that. Now, let me just click and show you the steps. So step number 1 is to review the skills that you need to develop. Step 2 is to then go to the research student community page. From there, you'll then click on the develop research and career skills. I'm going to show you how to do this so you don't have to remember this. And then third, you're going to select and register for the relevant training. So let me show you that live, because I know it can be really useful to see things live. All right, so if I go to my own digital workplace, and you might, if you're already a staff member, you might use digital workplace, or if you're a student, it might be HiQ, but it's the same kind of concepts. So I will scroll down to my dashboard where I have research students, and I will click on the community homepage. And I'm just going to show you this because then you can see where everything is, just in case you haven't come across this as a student. Just waiting for it to load. Sorry. Come on, you can load for me. There we go. All right, so logging in. I need some waiting music, don't I? Okay, here we go. So this is your research students community page, all right? And it's something for you to make sure that you are familiar with. It's got lots and lots of information, but we've got a few key things, and the one I'm going to draw your attention to is develop research and career skills. But if down the track you're also interested in engaging with industry, this is one of our pages as well that has more specific information about engaging with industry. But in terms of the skills assessment tool and getting the list of areas or skills areas that you want to develop in, this is the page that you'll go to develop your research and career skills. And within this page, you will see on the left-hand column here, the list of these are the 20 skills in alphabetical order. And then each of those, you'll see academic writing, then has them listed underneath. And these are all training and development. Kerry and Tash are super busy learning and language educators, as you can see, running heaps and heaps of offerings. And then there's the career development. So this is my space, and Katie and I work together in this space as well. So these are all the different career development training opportunities. So you'll simply click on, let's take, for example, careers beyond academia. So there's all the kind of industry kind of career opportunities. And for each of these, up will come some information about the offering. So the event that we're running, again online, and an opportunity to register. Okay, so I hope that gives you a bit of a picture of this is where we are. These are all the offerings, and this year I believe we have over 200 offerings for the year. So 200 online events ranging from a 1 hour information type session through to a 2 hour webinar, and they're all free. It's professional development that's free. It's crazy. It's fantastic, crazy. So that gives you a bit of a picture of where to go and where to find us. I hope that was helpful. So I'll jump back to our slides, share. Okay, so back to our page and where we're up to. Now, what I would like to do is jump in, before I go back to that, I'd like to jump in and answer some of the questions. So Bridget's got in here, is there additional coursework and or certificates required beyond that of a PhD for lecturing positions? Look, Bridget, I can't specifically answer that only because it's not my skill area in terms of lecturing and being an academic. What I would do is first of all say that a PhD is probably the most important thing in terms of a full-time lecturing type position. I will ask Kerry, if you don't mind, looking up the Navigating an Academic Career. So everyone, I ran a webinar 3 or 4 weeks ago called Navigating an Academic Career, where we had some academics on our panel talking about an academic career, and we recorded it. So if you would like to go, and I'm pretty sure that one's only held once a year. So what I'll do is I'll ask Kerry in her time to jump in and have a look at that on Blackboard. And then we'll put the link from Blackboard on, thanks Kerry. We'll put the link on from Blackboard up for you so that you can link to that and have a look, have a listen through that hour-and-a-half recording if you like, or at least the slides. And some key resources there about an academic career. So that would be number one. Number two is please speak to your supervisor, co-supervisor, or other academics that you know to get specific up-to-date information about what they're requiring. What I would say is to, again, even jump on Seek and look up academic positions, or jump on university websites and look up different academic positions and see what they're asking for. Majority you will see will be asking for a PhD because they're wanting you to drive research as well as the teaching. Okay. You're welcome. Okay, great. All right, let me just sneak back through because I missed a couple more. John Paul says, does GRED provide feedback on personal assessment of the various skills based from industry standards? Worried we may be giving ourselves unnecessarily low or high self-rating. Look, that's a really good point. John Paul, no, we don't provide personal assessment. And that's the reason why we were very specific with the rating, the way we developed the rating. So the rating is about your personal interpretation of your level of experience, not whether you're really good at it or not really good at it. So what we're looking for is for you to be able to think through, if I don't have much experience, then I should develop my skills by attending some training. Or if I feel like I have a fair amount of experience, then maybe I just attend 1 or 2 training to just self-rate myself and gain some more specific skills and experience. So yeah, it really does come down to you, and it's looking at that experience level. Great question though, I haven't had that one before. That's really good. And also, John Paul, also go back perhaps and look at jobs that are asking for those specific skills, and what is it that they're asking for? Are they asking for advanced skills in such and such programming with the ability to do what? And then you can go back and self-assess, okay, I think I'm really good at that programming, but actually I don't know how to do it in that regard or related to that role. And that might help you determine where the gap is. Okay. Oh, Anna's just put, I'm very impressed with all the offerings. Thank you. You didn't expect there'd be so much support. Yeah, look, we are your support team. So I hope you do feel supported to develop yourself. And what I would also say is, if you're in your first year of candidature, you are very new to our environment. So don't feel like you have to do everything in the next 2 months or 6 months or 12 months. Just take it step by step and plan it out. You know, you might find that, you know, my key steps for you are simply know the environment, know the work environment, to assess your skills so that you know where you sit. And the next one will be connect with your peers, right? And that's all I'm asking of you in your first year as from a careers perspective, okay? Know the environment. So just have a look at a few jobs and things, develop your career skills. So attend 1 or 2 of my trainings and connect with your peers. Now, why do I say that? Because if you're in your first year, you're probably really needing to develop your academic writing skills, because this is a new world for you. You're learning and developing. And so you're going to need time to book into some of Kerry and Tasha's academic writing workshops and webinars, which there's plenty there for you. And that might be a little more of your focus in first year, and that's completely fine. For others of you, maybe you've been really involved in research and writing and you don't need to develop those skills as much, and you might be able to do some other opportunities, okay? But let's just take it step by step, okay? So connecting with your peers is another question, and I know there's a couple more questions, so I will come back to those. Connecting with your peers, I have here, connect with your peers in your lab or in your office, or wherever you're located. Now, I know some of you do work from home or do your research from home, and some of you do attend the university. I'd encourage you, if you have access to attend the university at times, please do, to really connect in and meet with your peers. Connect with your supervisors or other academic colleagues, not just on your research, but on your career, where you're thinking of going. And it might be simply you asking them, how did they get started in their career and what was their career journey? Maybe they were very lateral with their career path and had different experiences and opportunities. Maybe they were very linear and just stayed within academia the whole way, and that was the opportunity for them at that time. It's just good to learn, and then you're building a conversation around careers. Join and attend the HDR student societies. So each of our faculties and schools have a HDR student society where they run different social type activities, and sometimes even some career activities where they'll bring some panels in. So find out where your HDR student society is, who they are. They generally all have a Facebook page. So start asking the questions to find out so you can be part of that. But I'm sure there are plenty of other opportunities. So I'm going to ask that question in a moment, but I was going to ask you to put it in the chat, but I don't want to lose the questions that I have here. So let me just answer those questions and then we'll come back to this last point. Lijun has, does the skills assessment tool automatically record all the workshops that a HDR student has been attending? No, great question. No, the skills assessment tool is not linked to UniHub. They're two totally separate entities. So we will keep a record for you in UniHub of the different events that you've attended, but that's a really good point. Your skills assessment tool is not linked to it. So ideally you want to put in your skills assessment tool the different events and experiences and webinars and training that you have attended. Great question, good one. I haven't had that one before either, so that's nice to have another first. The next one I have down at 1:15 was Kerry putting in the navigating and academic career resources. Thank you, Kerry. John Paul has another question. My additional worry is most of my experiences from outside Australia, so I'm guessing I should be rating more conservatively given the differences, nuances in context. Maybe that's right, John Paul, but you know, feel free to rate yourself where you think. You can always change your rating, and we encourage you each year to pause, to go into your self-assessment tool and adjust your rating based on the experiences that you've gained. And so for some skills where you've had lots of different experiences, you may move from new to me to feeling significantly experienced in that space. Or you might start with feeling significantly experienced and then attend a couple of training sessions and go, oh my gosh, I had no idea I need to adjust that rating. Okay, so the rating is not set in stone. The rating is not reviewed by anyone. Okay, it is all your confidential information. Okay, so yes, you can review that yourself. Ruth posted that she had the same question. Yes, if workshop is attended, recorded, and uni hubs are away, you can get a summary list. I'm going to find out about that. I am not sure. Katie or Kerry, if you do know whether the summary list can be from our keeping records of students can be downloaded, I'm actually not sure on that one, how it actually works. I'm just making a note here. Oh, you're not a student, yes, you won't be able to see it either. That's okay, we are going to find out. I'm just making a note. Okay, we will come back to you, Ruth, and what I'll do is at the end of this webinar, I'll be sending you an email anyway with a summary and some resources and a small feedback, because this is the first time we have run this for first year students. So I'd love some feedback to get a sense of whether you felt that you've gained some understanding of these top 3 tips, or these 3 important factors for first year students. Yeah, so I'll find out and then I'll pop that in the email that I send you later this afternoon. Okay, all right. Next thing is just the last point that I have here, which is other opportunities. So I'm curious, in the chat function, seeing you're all getting quite skilled in the chat function, can you post if there are any other opportunities for you to connect with peers that you know of, even if it's just in your school or in your faculty? Just bombard us with anything that you already know of that allows you to connect with peers. Maybe it's a seminar you attended, or I don't know what happens in faculties and schools, because that's your expertise. Does anyone have anything they can share on the chat? Okay, great. Ruth attended a welcome party in her faculty. Good. All right. Oh, I'm glad faculties are doing that. Anyone else? Has anyone else connected with people? Okay, supervisor is planning to set up a monthly get together for her HDR students to network. Oh, what a great idea. Fantastic. Oh gee, I'm trying to catch up now. Yes, QRSnet has a monthly coffee catch up. Good. Make sure you search QRSnet in your HiQ or digital workplace. QRSnet, yeah, QRS have coffee breaks, and they're probably similar to us in terms of a team of support, but it's more around the social support, social activities, which is excellent. Something really useful for you to be involved in. Yeah, they're virtual coffee breaks during COVID. Yes, that's true. Okay, some people have met other people through the GRED e-modules that we run online. So the e-modules are 5-week modules. So I think I said to you that we run half-an-hour webinars through to 2-hour, but we also run 5-week intensives on particular topics. And Lee Jun has met some people through that. That's great. Education has a HDR students working group. Oh, that's excellent. ACPNS has a loose group for its HDR students as well. John Paul, can you put in the, yeah, what is the, hang on, has he already put it? Oh, yep, there we go. Australian Centre for Philanthropy and Non-for-Profit Studies in the Business Faculty. Excellent. Adam's got his faculty running HDR seminars monthly to introduce everyone and present research being conducted. This is really exciting, guys. Some schools have HDR student groups. Yeah, they're the ones that I was saying would be really good to connect in with, student society, student groups. Faculty of Health, School and Exercise have HDR focus groups. Okay, oh, excellent, involved in organising social events. Excellent. So the great thing about the student groups is that there is opportunity to be involved in organising. So not just as a participant, but down the track, you might want to be involved in organising, which really speaks to your leadership and management and budgeting and event management type skills. which can be good as you move throughout candidature. A, to be able to demonstrate in terms of jobs and skills, but B, also if you're looking at an academic career, they are interested in your ability to provide, to contribute to committees or provide service to the university. So there's just some great examples to demonstrate your skills and experience. Just sliding through, I don't think I missed anything. Excellent. So what is coming up that's more targeted for first year students? These are 3 things that I'm recommending would be great for a first year student to contemplate. On the 8th of April, Kerry and Tart, I can't remember which one is running this one, but there is a HDR writing workshop on academic vocabulary. Okay, and Kerry's popping the links to register for those in the chat right now. Okay, so make sure you have a look at those. The second one is milestone Q&A. So that's where Imogen, another team member of ours, talks through the different milestones of candidature and where to find things and how to stay on top of things. So that's a really useful one. And I think a lot of our candidates attend it each year just as a refresher. So it's a very popular one. And then the last one, not as important as a first year, but it might be of interest to you. I am running a Careers Beyond Academia, a World of Possibilities webinar on the 22nd of April. So that's for those of you who think, I might be interested in exploring careers outside of academia, which means we're talking about careers in industry, which is public sector, private sector, non-for-profit, startups, those kinds of areas. And we'll have a panel of past PhD students, maybe from QUT, maybe from other universities, but those who are past PhD, past MPhil, and are out in industry doing some exciting things. So it'll just be lovely to hear what are their stories, how did they get into those roles, what did they consider, and what is their wisdom. So those are all lovely things for you to enrol in. So ladies and gentlemen, that is 1:28. We have 2 minutes to spare. Do you have any other questions for me? All right, while you're thinking, or if not, I hope that has been really useful for you. I hope that you feel you have a greater understanding, which was my goal today, a greater understanding of the top 3 things that you can work towards in terms of building your career throughout candidature. And later this afternoon, I will send you an email with some resources and with the slides so that you can access those slides. And we have recorded this session if you want to go back and have a look. And I'll ask you for a little bit of feedback just so I know, should I keep running this for first year students or is it not as useful? It would be lovely to know and I'd really appreciate your feedback. Thanks everyone. We've missed, can we have a look at sessions we've missed but haven't registered for at the time? Yes, you can have a look at those sessions. They are on our Blackboard page and I will put the link to that in the email this afternoon so that you can access the Blackboard site. Okay. All right, wonderful. Lovely to virtually work with you today and look forward to seeing you at other events. Thanks very much. See you. Yes, have a lovely holiday.
Thanks, Georgia. Thanks,
You're
everyone.
welcome.